In this tutorial, I'll walk you through doing a verb synopsis as will be on our test tomorrow. First, by looking at your principal parts, amo, amare, amawi, amatos, we can tell that this word is first conjugation because of the RA. So we can start by doing the infinitive and just moving the RA down. So we would put amare here. All infinitives are translated as to, so this would be to love. We then use the amare, knowing that our first conjugation changes to RE. So we'd write amari here. And it would be translated as to be loved. Now we can begin doing the tenses. For the top half, above this dotted line, we're using the second principal part as our stem. So we chop off the ARE, and we use AM as our stem, plus our connecting vowel, which is just an A for first conjugation. I'm going to go ahead and put my stem in all of these, so I remember to keep that the same in the top half. After my stem's done, I can go ahead and put on my endings. And I do this by looking at my verb chart. The present ending for second person singular is an S in the present, bas in the imperfect, and bis in the future. Likewise, I add my passive endings on the right-hand side, ris, baris, and baris. When I go ahead to translate these, I have to keep in mind that my subject is second singular, and the second singular subject is you. So this will translate to you love, and the passive of that is like its reciprocal, you are loved. For imperfect, you were loving, and then for the passive, you were loved, or you were being loved. And then future, you will love, and then the passive of that, you will be loved. Now that we've finished the top half, we can move on to the bottom. So above the dotted line, we use the second principal part, but in this left-hand corner, we're going to use the third principal part. So I go back up to my word, chop off the I, and get my stem that way. And so my stem is just amaw. Luckily, no connecting vowels for these three tenses, so I can just go ahead and put my endings directly on. So my perfect ending is isti, pluperfect is eras, and future perfect is eris. When I go to the passive side, I switch to my fourth principal part. So I take that fourth part, I cut off the US, and I want to make it feminine, which the feminine singular is just an A. So this would be amata as my stem, or as my first word. And then I'm just adding my forms of sum as a separate word. So we'd use S, eras, and eris. So now we can go ahead and translate them. Again, the subject for all of these is going to be you, because we're doing second person singular. So for perfect, it's just simple past tense, you loved. And the passive of that, you were loved. For pluperfect, we need the word had. So you had loved. And then adding the been, you had been loved, makes our passive. And then finally, future perfect, we use will have. You will have loved is our active. And you will have been loved is our passive. So feel free to play this back and forth and rewind so that you can make sure you're all prepared for your test tomorrow. Bonam fortunam!